All right, welcome back to the Blueprint on How to Turn Goals into Achievement podcast for students. I am your coach and speaker and host, Andres Ruiz, and today we have a very special guest. I've had the privilege of meeting this wonderful woman who is doing amazing work for our future, and her name is Kissena Frazier from I have trouble with this, Deweyville College. And she is the project director for Trio Upward Bound. And I'm really grateful to have you on the show. Welcome. How are you feeling today?
So I am feeling great. Thank you so much. Like Mr. Roy said, I'm Kissena Frazier, and I am out of Deweyville here in Buffalo. So yes, director of Upward Bound, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you for sure. And so, Kissena, what I like to do is I like to just ask the guests just about themselves, and kind of like to have them praise themselves a little bit. I think it's good to do that. And so, like, what I want to start this off with is I want to ask you, like, what would you say is your superpower?
You know what? I am a woman, so just being a woman in itself is a superpower, right? We can do so many things, I'm sorry, Mr. Riz, that men cannot do, okay? But I would really say, as it pertains to like my career, my superpower is the way I love people and the way I can communicate with people. You can literally put me in a room with anybody, black, white, purple, yellow, blue, ages 1 up to 92. And I'm going to find a friend. I can talk with them. I can relate with them, have a conversation, build a rapport with them. And yeah, so I would say that's my superpower because everyone can't do that. Can you do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's definitely a superpower. No, you put me on the spot, but I don't want to brag on myself, but I feel like I have a good connection with kids, teens. And I think that's something that I learned from my grandparents and my parents, where I would see them socialize, and the way that they would interact with people from 1-year-olds to 90-year-olds was amazing. And I was always like observing them. I was like, okay, so this is how you would talk to like an elderly person. This is how you talk to a younger person, like, so I love that. And I definitely believe that that is a superpower. And yes, being a woman is definitely a superpower. I can relate because, I have my wife and I have a 7 and 10-year-old, and she can definitely do things that I can't. So I agree with you, for sure. No offense.
Good answer.
No offense here. It's all good. So tell us, like, an overview of the work you do as the project director for Trio Upward Bound.
Okay. So as a project director of Trio Upward Bound, I wear many, many hats and I do a lot of things. Trio Upward Bound at Deweyville, we service 9th through 12th grade high school students. So we're a pre-collegiate program. We fall under the Trio umbrella. So we kind of get them before they get to college. We give them all of the skills they need to be successful in post-secondary education. What that looks like. Over the summer program, we have a 6-week program where they come on campus. They're there Monday through Friday. We have a culture enrichment piece, and we have an academic piece. So they come, they get their sciences, their STEM, their math, but then they also get their mental health piece. They get their financial literacy piece. They get their college prep piece. So we do all of that over the summer in a 6-week program that extends into the school year. Over the school year, they're on campus after school. So they're assigned a mentor. They have tutoring. So all of that is incorporated into the program. We're there year round. But the major piece is for them to have that mentor and that person to come to for anything. And we are college prep. So for our juniors and seniors, we prepare them with the FAFSA. We help them write the college essays. We help them do their, I'm having a brain fart here, Mr. Riz. College applications. If there's a fee for that particular college application, we help them with that. So if Johnny comes to us and says, hey, Miss, I really want to go to Harvard. I have great grades, but that application fee is $150. Upward Bound will pay for that. So it looks different for everyone, but yeah, that's pretty much just the gist of it. And all of the programming and things like that is what I'm responsible for, making sure that I'm executing what we're supposed to do based on our grant objectives, because we are a grant funded program.
I love that. Yeah, no, and definitely, like, from me, seeing personally what you guys do, I really appreciate it, because I do see the directors and people who assist the directors, like they go above and beyond. And I've been
Yes.
super impressed with, the upward bounds and the ETSs and the SSSs that I've worked with. I'm like, dang, like these people are really working hard for these kids. And I see the love and the passion
Yes.
that is there, and I see that you have that passion. I see that you love what you do. So, I appreciate you and sharing that and doing everything that you do for not just the students, but for the future. So, I'm very happy that you're the director and you're helping these kids out. I love it.
I always say I'm planting the seed and I may never see it come to fruition. If I meet Johnny in the 9th grade and he goes on to college and we lose touch, but what I do for Johnny in 9th and 10th grade is exactly like you said. I'm planting the seed for future generations to come.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
Well said. Yeah. So tell us, for students who would be interested in having like a career in higher ed, or, just when they're going to be going to college, what would you say it takes to be successful at what you do? And also when you're going to college?
Absolutely. So I do teach my students that success looks different for everyone, right? Like what's successful to me may not be successful to you, may not be successful to the next person. But going into higher ed, definitely flexibility. I don't work a 9 to 5. I am never done at 5 o'clock. I can't turn it off and say, okay, laptop closed, time to go home. Forget about it. There's always going to be a student that's going to text me about something. Miss Kissena, I need. Miss Kissena, can you? Miss Kissena, tomorrow, can you do X, Y, and Z? So just having that flexibility. We do travel a lot. That's part of our program as well. Next week, we're going to Baltimore, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. to do some college tours and have some fun and do some things. So I'll be leaving my home and my family for 4 days to go and travel with students. So definitely having to have that flexibility to be able to get up and go and, not be able to turn your phone off at 5 o'clock because work doesn't stop. So that's number one. Another thing is just to be empathetic. And if you understand, empathy and sympathy are two different things. Working with the generation that we work with, we serve first gen college students, income eligible families, a lot of Black and brown students, mainly our students. They navigate this world different. They look different. Their home lives are different. Their parents' work lives are different. So just understanding that and being empathetic to their situations. Everyone it's personalized, and individualized, but just understanding that your upbringing may be different, most likely will be different from this student to this student to this student to this student. You can even have a student, they can come from the same country and, their households look completely different. So having empathy for sure, and being able to set aside your own biases that you have personally to be able to help and assist these children and these families. Mm-hmm. Lastly, I would say definitely to be a hard worker. And that's something else like success that can look different for everyone. In higher ed, hard work looks like doing whatever that student needs to be successful, right? So Johnny might literally need you to sit down with him, hand over hand, not literally, but to help him write his personal essay for his college application, right? So that might be what Johnny needs. But Susie might be able to, you can just give her a prompt and say, Susie, this is what I need you to do. Come back to me, I'll review it, I'll go over it, and you can send it. So when I say the hard work piece, just being available for those students in whatever capacity that they need.
I love that. Yeah. And thank you for sharing these insights, because flexibility is so important. And I see that when I'm working with these directors from Upward Bound, I see that they're flexible. Sometimes they have to go pick up the kids somewhere, like they have to get on that bus, and not that bus, but that big van and go pick up some kids, like sometimes they got to go get some food. And I see these people and I'm like, dang, like I'm so grateful for these people that are so hardworking and so flexible. And I think that like also, just that flexibility will take you places that, that you can never imagine, because they're going to be like, wow, this person is going above and beyond. And then I love that empathy part of it where, I see some of these kids that they're dealing with, it could be potential, maybe they're having traumas, or maybe their household, they're helping with their siblings, maybe they're working another job, they're helping mom and dad, and so I really love what you're talking about, and that hard work is so crucial for your success, I think, for anybody. So
Right.
yeah, I definitely agree with all that you said. Love it.
Yeah.
So, like, when you see these students, these high school students, what would you say are the three challenges that you've been noticing lately when it comes to these high school students?
Okay, so when it comes to these high school students, three challenges. Um, definitely right now, coming, well, I don't want to say coming out of the pandemic because we're still in a pandemic. But just with them having just completed here in Buffalo their first year in person back in school, the mental health piece.
Oh,
Definitely the mental health piece. A lot of students were suffering from mental health prior to the pandemic, then having to be isolated in their homes with just their families, away from their peers. It kind of escalated what was already there. For some, it kind of brought out something that they never knew was there, but now, they have that social anxiety, or they might have always had test anxiety, whereas, they would have problems like in a school setting, but now that transferred into having to still take a test in your home with no teacher over the Zoom, you know what I mean? Like it's just heightened. So definitely the mental health piece has been huge with our high school students. And that's definitely something that I incorporate into my program as well. We do a whole mental health piece just so that they're able to recognize what anxiety looks like, the different types, what depression looks like, the different types, how to, go about it, how to give them different coping skills. If they desire to go and seek, therapy or mental health counseling or something like that. I am a social worker, but I do not provide that service to my students. But I will provide them with the linkage to a professional in the area that can.
nice.
So that's one thing. Social skills, definitely social skills. And that can also be linked with the mental health piece. A lot of my students, say for instance, like my 10th graders, they did their entire freshman year virtually. So last summer was literally their first time, a lot of them stepping foot onto their high school campus. And then going into 10th grade as a 10th grader, but technically still a ninth grader, right? Because like this is their first time on a high school campus. They haven't seen their friends in person in over a year. They've talked to people like via Zoom and have, made semi connections with people in class, but it's like a whole new world. You know what I mean? They're still that little freshman, that 13, 14-year-old freshman stepping on campus, expected to act like a 10th grader, think like a 10th grader, socialize like a 10th grader, when in actuality, they're still that little freshman. So social skills for sure, because the social skills that they would have gotten as a freshman coming on campus, transitioning from middle school to high school, they never got. And now they're in these school buildings and they're expected to act and perform a certain way that they've never been able to. So
Yeah.
social skills definitely very important. Lastly, I would say just the learning loss. The learning loss has been huge. Even going back to the social skills, my ninth grader that's stepping on the campus as a 10th grader literally is about to do everything their 10th grade year that they were supposed to do in ninth grade, right? That learning loss, that disconnect. There's a lot of things that they were able to do, but probably didn't retain just because of the way that it was taught to them. A lot of kids did horrible virtually. They weren't able to sit for a long period of time. They weren't able to log in. Their family may have not had working internet. And even though the district did provide internet, that came months down the line. So Johnny's missing out on a lot of school. The attendance in this Buffalo school district was horrible throughout the pandemic. Because, at this point, it's like, you can't go to people's houses and knock on their door and say, hey, get up. Now we're actually trying to hold these students accountable. We're trying to hold the parents accountable. So that whole gap in that learning loss piece is really like a challenge. And that's definitely something that having educators as friends, something that the educators did have to struggle through with this school year is basically, having them relearn the grade prior while still trying to incorporate the new curriculum, because they suspended the tests, so they didn't have to take Regents exams, but now they just brought them back. So now they're not only expected to relearn what they missed via internet, but now we also want you to test. We want to test you on it, and we, like it's just absolutely crazy. So yeah, definitely a challenge has been that learning loss. So the mental health piece, the social skills piece, and then the learning loss for sure.
Wow, that's powerful. And thank you for sharing that, because I totally agree with everything you said. Like, for example, with some of these programs that I've worked with, I was noticing that there was a lot of stress, and they needed help with the stress and how to manage their stress, how to manage that anxiety. And I told some of the people, I was like, what we need to do is we need to help these kids with first their stress, because if we don't get to the root of the problem, what is going on with them, what is causing them their stress, and then getting a solution for that, the learning skills are not going to come, the social skills are not going to come. And so we can teach them how to deal with their stress, their anxiety first, step one, meet them where they're at. And then from there, let's see what we can do to maybe move them into the socializing and the learning to get better. Because if we just tell them, hey, this is how you manage your time, but if you're not managing your brain, you can't do anything. So so definitely agree with you, and thank you for doing that for the kids, helping them with the mental health side of things. I definitely agree with that. And I've talked to some kids about this, where I tell them about my mental struggles, with depression, anxiety, and all that. And they're like, what, that's what I'm feeling right now. Like, I feel like nobody understands me. I feel alone. So we have to make these kids understand, hey, you know what? You're not alone. You have our support. And that's what you're giving them. You're giving them hope and letting them know you're not alone. We're here for you. So I love sharing that. So like, for any students that are listening, that are having these challenges, like, what advice would you give them to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so for any student that's listening that are having these challenges, what I would say is to seek out a mentor, someone you trust, a safe space. The one thing that I really, really try to implement in my program is safety. And when I say safety, I mean safety as in the physical safety, right? Of course, you're going to come to the program. You're going to be safe there. No one's going to bother you when we're traveling, when we're out in the public. You're going to be safe. Your physical safety. No one's going to kidnap you or things like that. But also, when I say safety, I mean emotionally, right? I want my students to be emotionally safe with me, with my staff, and with each other to their comfortability level. They should be able to come into Upward Bound and come to me and say, Ms. Kissena, I'm really, really struggling. What are you struggling? Talk to me. And they talk to me, and they do, because I'm approachable. And I let them know that I am available, that it's okay to be vulnerable with me, that I'm not going to judge you, that I am here to help you. And if I can't get you something, I will find someone who will. So definitely, I would say for students who are struggling, seek out a mentor, seek out that one person that you feel safe with. If it's not your parent, mom, dad, grandpa, it could be someone in your church or whatever faith you have in your mosque. Someone that if you go to them and you tell them that you're struggling and you really need help, that they're going to be there for you, and they're going to help you. And if they can't help you, they will put you in touch with someone who will. I do suggest that it is an adult. I should say that, not a peer. And I only say that because a lot of times I have an 18-year-old myself, right? So, she and I have a great relationship, and we talk about just about anything. But if it's something that's really, 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 really like laying heavy on your heart, and when I say heavy on your heart, I mean like we're talking about like the mental health piece, like the depression, God forbid you're having suicidal ideations, and like something like that, you don't want to go to your peer because they're not equipped to help you in that situation, right? Like your brains aren't fully developed, like they don't know what to do. They're the same age as you. So definitely have it be an adult. When I say like someone safe, having it be an adult. Because adults, we don't know everything. I'm not claiming to know everything, but we do know a little bit more than you. So we have more resources than you, and we're able to like think on a different level and make sure that we're getting you the help that you need.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I completely agree with, with them approaching somebody like yourself. And I'm glad that you're approachable, and you seem really chill, really calm.
Yeah.
And I love it. And that's why, that's your superpower. So, and that's cool that you have that relationship with, with your teen, because they're able to approach you. And that's a beautiful thing to have, to have a parent that can be there for them, socially, emotionally, mentally. I mean, that's really amazing. So thank you for sharing that. I agree 100%. Tell us, about mentorship, because mentorship, I think, is really important. But how did you find help and mentorship for what you do, or just overall your whole, your life?
Yeah. So I mean, in the previous question, I did mention to seek out a mentor. Mentorship to me is very, very, very important. And my mentors for my program, I do have them go through a mentor like kind of one-on-one thing, just because I think some people say they want to be a mentor, but they don't understand like what all it entails, and they don't understand the responsibility of that. And when I say that, what I'm saying is, if a student, as you're the mentor, and if a student does come to you with we'll just go back to the suicidal ideation. If the student does come to you, you need to know how to handle that, right? So like for my mentors, I have them go through training. It's kind of like a first aid mental health training, because they see the students all the time after school program. They're with them more than I am. They're building these relationships with them. They're building this rapport with them. So 9 times out of 10, the student is going to come to their mentor before they come to me. So I want to make sure that my mentors are equipped with the knowledge of what to do, especially in an emergency situation like that. When it comes to like seeking out a mentor, like I already, I did state, have it someone, I would, prefer an adult, someone that is doing what you're doing. So like I'm a social worker. So as a social worker, when I was going through my master's program, I had some great mentors that were in the field, already rocking and rolling, doing what I want to do. I sought out multiple mentors that did different things in the social work field. So I had one that was in the Buffalo Public Schools, that was a school social worker who was a mentor for me. And she kind of taught me like, this is what a school social worker does. She allowed me to work beside her when I was going through my internship and things like that. I had another mentor who also worked in the school system, but she worked on the crisis team. So she was responsible for doing all of the assessments and things like that for a student, still a social worker as well. So like just being able to have, people do the same thing, but different things at the same time, if that makes any sense. And then when I came to Upward Bound as a director, transitioning from the school system into higher ed, I sought out another mentor at another university. She works in the same capacity. She directs 5 different TRIO programs over in Rochester, which is about an hour away. So I sought her out because she has all of the knowledge that I need to do my job, as well as to give my students, so when they're able to go to college, because TRIO isn't just high school, right? Like Upward Bound is pre-collegiate, but then once you get to the college level, you have like the TRIO Student Support Services, which we call SSS. So, if they go on those campus, they can seek that out. Or if they say, after I'm done my bachelor's, I want to get a master's. There's the McNair program. I want to get, a master's or like a doctorate. There's a McNair program that can help them with that. So, basically I sought out someone who is very knowledgeable in all those things, doing the same thing that I'm doing. And she took me right under her wing. And it's definitely important.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree 100%. And I love how you said that, you get these people to be equipped for any emergencies, and I think that that's really important to have like some trainings, like I remember for me having like just last year, having 10 kids tell me, hey, I'm thinking about committing suicide. And I said, man, this is serious stuff. Thankfully right there we had counselors to help them out. But then I said, man, what can I do to get better at this? And I took that, it's called assist training, and people with suicide. And it was good to know like, wow, okay, there's ways to kind of like help these people, to get them out of that suicidal thinking, because right now suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst teens. And that's quite alarming. So I'm glad that you take that very seriously, and that mental health piece of it. So that's awesome that you're doing that. So Tell us final question here is, why is it important to stay hungry and humble at the same time when you're pursuing your goals?
That's such a good question. Hungry and humble. I feel like I need that on a t-shirt. It's important to stay hungry because you may get to, okay, so we already talked about like what success looks like, and success does look like different for everyone. But you may feel like you've gotten to a place, but just never allow yourself to plateau. Just never be just okay with where you are. You always want to be hungry. So what that looks like, I came in, I started as an assistant director, right? And my then director, when she asked me like, what are your goals here at DUville? I told her, I said, you know what, my goal is to have your job. And here I am a year and a half later, sitting as the director, no longer the assistant director, because I came in knowing that I wanted to go higher, that I could go higher, that I wanted to learn all that I could learn so that I can go higher. So now I am the director. Am I going to stop there? Absolutely not. I would absolutely love to be the vice president of something on a college campus somewhere. Right now, I'm Kissena Frazier, MSW. I would absolutely love to have Dr. Kissena Frazier in front of my name, right? So definitely stay hungry. Don't just settle with where you are. Always look to go further. And then when you talk about being humble and having humility, never get the swelled head, And when I say that, some people, they get so caught up in the titles that they forget that they have, you're here for a purpose, right? And you should be always operating in your purpose. So I can be an assistant, still helping people. I can be a director, still helping people. I can be a VP, still helping people. The janitor or the custodian could still help one of my students with something, right? Like, so just never get caught up on the titles. Always be humble, because just as your path was created for you, someone has a different path, but it does not mean that you're better. It does not mean that they're less, right? Like I can learn something from the janitor, just like the janitor can learn something from me. So definitely, having humility, no matter how big you get, still be able to, come down off your high horse. Don't get up on your soapbox and stay there. Reach and pull somebody else up with you. That should be your goal.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, thank you so much, Kissena, for being on the show. This was very insightful. I mean, your wisdom was definitely felt. I mean, I was even taking some notes. So, just to let you know.
Okay, Mr. Ruiz.
Yeah, I'm always learning, and like you said, you can learn from anybody, and I'm always open book to like learning from everybody. I'm always taking notes. And, I definitely gained some golden nuggets from here. I'm going to review them. But, so thank you for being on. And thank you, everybody, for watching the Blueprint on How to Turn Goals into Achievement podcast. We will be seeing you on the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Peace.